Hello and welcome to ClearSpeak English. I'm Avery, and I'm excited to guide you through today's comprehensive lesson. We're going to dive deep into a topic that many English learners find challenging. Have you ever been in a conversation wanting to express a complex idea, but you find yourself pausing, searching for words, and ending up with short, choppy sentences? You're not alone. Today, we're tackling a very common challenge for English learners: how to make long sentences without hesitation. Our goal today is ambitious, but absolutely achievable: to give you the tools and confidence to connect your thoughts and speak more fluently. We want you to leave this lesson feeling empowered to create longer, more natural-sounding sentences without hesitation. We'll break down the process into simple, manageable steps so you can start applying these techniques immediately. So let's get started on this journey to more confident English speaking. First, let's talk about why we hesitate. It's a natural part of learning, but understanding its root causes is key to overcoming it. There are usually three main reasons. Number one, fear of making mistakes. This is the big one. We worry that a long sentence will be grammatically incorrect, so we stick to short, safe sentences. We think things like, what if I use the wrong tense? Or what if my sentence structure is weird? This fear can be paralyzing, but it's important to remember that mistakes are how we learn. Number two, searching for the perfect word. We pause because we think there's a better, more impressive vocabulary word out there, and this mental search breaks our flow. We might be thinking of a word in our native language that doesn't have a direct one-to-one translation, or we're just trying too hard to sound intelligent. And number three, translating in our heads. This is a very common habit. We form a long, complex sentence in our native language and then try to translate it piece by piece into English. This often fails because English sentence structure, the subject-verb-object order, can be very different from other languages. The result is often a confusing or grammatically incorrect sentence. Let's dive deeper into these reasons. The fear of making mistakes is a big one. Many learners feel that grammar for long sentences is very complex. They worry about subject-verb agreement, using the correct tense, or choosing the right preposition. So they stick to what they know best: short, simple sentences. The search for the perfect word is another trap. In our native language, we have a rich vocabulary, and we often try to find the exact same word in English, but language doesn't work that way. While you're searching, the conversation moves on, and you've lost your chance to speak. And finally, translating in our heads. This is the most inefficient way to speak. It's like building a house with the wrong instructions. The sentence structure of your native language is likely different from English. By translating directly, you create sentences that sound unnatural and are often grammatically incorrect. Let's dive a little deeper into each of these. The fear of making mistakes is a big one. This fear can be paralyzing, making us stick to simple sentences we know are safe. But remember, making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. Native speakers make mistakes too, so give yourself permission to be imperfect. The goal is communication, not perfection. When you release the fear of judgment, you'll find it much easier to experiment with more complex sentences. Recognizing these habits is the first step. Today's lesson will give you a new way to think, so you can build sentences directly in English, one step at a time. Now, let's talk about the perfect word problem. It's true that a rich vocabulary can make your speech more colorful, but fluency is about momentum. It's better to use a simple word and keep the conversation going than to pause for 5 seconds to find a more advanced word. Often, the simpler word is more natural anyway. For example, instead of searching for the word ubiquitous, you could just say everywhere. Instead of exquisite, you could say beautiful or lovely. As your vocabulary grows, you'll naturally start to use more advanced words. But for now, focus on using the words you already know to build fluent sentences. Let's expand on the search for the perfect word. This is often a sign that you have a great vocabulary, but it can interrupt your fluency. Instead of pausing to find the complex word, try using a simpler word or rephrasing your idea. For example, instead of searching for the word magnificent, you could say very beautiful or really impressive. The goal is to keep the conversation flowing. You can always learn and incorporate new vocabulary later, but in the moment, fluency is more important than perfection. Now, let's move on to our first powerful tool, connectors. Connectors, or conjunctions, are the secret ingredient to creating flowing, logical, and impressive sentences. Think of them as the bridges that connect your islands of thought. Without them, your ideas are isolated and choppy. With them, you can build a network of connected ideas that guide your listener effortlessly from one point to the next. Thinking in terms of connectors is the secret to building longer sentences naturally. Let's break them down into 4 simple categories. First, connectors for adding information. The most common one is and. Others include also and in addition. For example, instead of saying, I like coffee, I like tea, you can say, I like coffee and I also like tea. Let's look at another example of adding information. Instead of saying, the city is crowded, the city is vibrant, you can combine them. The city is not only crowded, but also vibrant. Here, not only, but also is a more advanced way to add a related idea, making your sentence more sophisticated. Let's look at another example of adding information. Instead of saying, the city is crowded, the city is vibrant, you can combine these ideas. The city is not only crowded, but also vibrant. This sounds much more sophisticated. And what about in addition? You could say, I need to go to the grocery store, and in addition, I have to stop by the post office. This is a great way to add a related but separate idea. Let's explore each of these categories with more examples. For adding information, and is your best friend, but you can also use phrases like moreover, furthermore, or not only, but also. For instance, not only do I enjoy playing the guitar, but I also sing. This adds a layer of sophistication to your sentence. Second, connectors for showing contrast. These are words like but, however, and although. They're perfect for connecting opposite ideas. For instance, he is tired, he is still working, becomes he is tired, but he is still working. Or, although he is tired, he is still working. See how much better that flows? Third, we have connectors for giving reasons. The most important one here is because. You can also use since or as. Instead of I stayed home, it was raining, you connect them, I stayed home because it was raining. This simple word immediately adds depth to your sentence. And fourth, connectors for showing results. Words like so, therefore, and as a result. They show a cause and effect relationship. For example, it was raining, I took an umbrella. Becomes, it was raining, so I took an umbrella. Fifth, let's not forget connectors for showing sequence or time. These are essential for telling stories or explaining steps in a process. Words like first, next, then, and finally help guide your listener through a narrative. For instance, instead of saying, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I had breakfast, you can create a flowing story. First, I woke up, then I brushed my teeth, and after that, I had breakfast. This creates a clear timeline for your listener. Don't try to memorize all of them at once. For now, just focus on the 4 most common ones: and, but, because, and so. They are the foundation for building longer sentences. Okay, now that we have our glue, let's learn how to add the building blocks. This is our next section, adding details step by step. The key is not to think of the entire long sentence at once. Instead, start with a very simple core idea and add layers to it. Let's start with a simple sentence. The man read a book. This is our core. It's clear, but it's a bit boring. Now let's add details. First, let's describe the man or the book. Let's add an adjective. The old man read a book. Or, the man read a long book. Good. Now, where did he read the book? Let's add a place. The old man read a long book in the park. The sentence is getting better. When did he read it? Let's add a time. The old man read a long book in the park this morning. Now, let's use a connector. Why did he read the book? Let's use because. The old man read a long book in the park this morning because he wanted to enjoy the beautiful weather. Look at that! We went from the man read a book to a rich descriptive sentence. The important thing is that we did it one step at a time. This method removes the pressure of creating a perfect long sentence from scratch. You just start simple and add on. Let's look at some more examples of short versus long sentences to really see the difference. We went to a new restaurant. The food was delicious. The service was slow. These are clear, but they don't connect. Now let's use our techniques. We went to a new restaurant where the food was delicious, but the service was unfortunately quite slow. Using where and but connects these ideas into one more sophisticated sentence. I have a job interview tomorrow. I am nervous. I need to prepare. Let's combine them. I have a job interview tomorrow, so I'm feeling quite nervous because I still need to prepare for it. We used so to show the result of the interview and because to explain the reason for the nervousness. It tells a much clearer story. As you can see, the goal is not just to make sentences longer, but to show the relationship between your ideas. This is what makes your English sound more advanced and natural. Now, as we learn this new skill, it's important to be aware of a few common mistakes. The first mistake is creating run-on sentences. This happens when you connect too many ideas without a proper break. For example, I woke up late, so I missed my bus and I was late for work. My boss was angry. It's just too much in one breath. I woke up late, so I missed my bus and was late for work. As a result, my boss... The second mistake is overusing one connector, especially and. Sometimes learners connect everything with and. I went to the store, and I bought apples, and I saw my friend, and we talked. Try to use a variety of connectors like so, because, and but to make your speech more interesting. Finally, the third mistake is making the sentence too complex. Remember, clarity is key. A long sentence is only good if it's easy to understand. Don't add details just to make it long. Make sure every piece of information adds value. All right, it's time to put this into action with some guided practice. I'm going to give you a simple sentence, and then I'll ask you to add a detail. I'll leave a pause for you to say your new sentence out loud, and then I'll give you my example. Don't worry about getting it perfect, just try to speak. Ready? He is watching a movie.
Where he is watching it.
He is watching a movie at home. Who he is watching with. He is watching a movie at home with his family. He is watching a movie at home with his family because it's his father's birthday. Let's do one more. The starting sentence is, the company launched a product. First, describe the product. Add an adjective. Go ahead. The company launched a new product. Now add when they launched it. Your turn. The company launched a new product last month. The company launched a new product last month, and it has already become very popular with customers. Ready for one last round? Let's make it a bit more challenging. The starting sentence is, she is developing a plan. Let's try a third one. This one is a bit more abstract. The core sentence is, ideas are important. Let's try a third one. This one is a bit more abstract. The core sentence is, ideas are important. Let's try a third one, focusing on telling a short story. The starting sentence is, she decided to learn a new skill. Now add why ideas are important. Use because. Your turn. The student passed the exam. One more just to solidify the process. Let's start with a very simple idea. She wrote an email. Take a moment. How can we build on this? First, let's add a who to it. Who did she write to? Say your sentence. My example is, she wrote an email to her manager. Okay, now let's add a why. Why did she write it? Use because. Speak your sentence now. My example, she wrote an email to her manager because she had a question about the project. Now let's add a when. When did this happen? My example, this morning she wrote an email to her manager because she had a question about the project. Finally, let's add a contrasting idea with but. What was the result? My example, this morning she wrote an email to her manager because she had a question about the project, but he hasn't replied yet. See how we built a detailed, informative sentence from a very simple start? This is a skill you can use in any conversation. One last practice round. This one is a bit more challenging. The base sentence is, she started a business. Ready? Let's begin. Let's try a third one, focusing on telling a short story. The starting sentence is, she adopted a dog. Let's try a third one, focusing on telling a short story. The starting sentence is, she adopted a dog. It's a nice sentence, but it doesn't tell us much. Ready to build? All right, let's do one final practice round to really solidify this skill. The starting sentence is, she is writing an email. Okay, one final practice round. Let's make this one a bit more challenging. Our starting sentence is, the team won the game. Ready? First add how they won the game. Give it a try. Let's try a third one. This one is about making plans. The starting sentence is, she is studying for her exam. Now add where she is studying. Go ahead. My example, she is studying for her exam at the library. Now add why she is studying there. Use the connector because. Speak now. My example, She is studying for her exam at the library because it's quiet and has a lot of resources. Finally, let's add a result of her studying. Use the connector so. Your turn. My final sentence: she is studying for her exam at the library because it's quiet and has a lot of resources, so she can focus and get a good grade. See how we built a detailed, informative sentence step by step? Now, add a time frame to this sentence. When did she learn to play? Go ahead. So, how can you practice this every day? This brings us to our final section, the daily application method. Knowledge is great, but practice is what creates fluency. I have two simple methods for you. The first is the story method. At the end of each day, take 2 minutes to tell the story of your day. The challenge is to use only 3 or 4 long sentences. This forces you to connect events using words like and, so, because, and after that. For example, this morning I went to work, but the traffic was terrible, so I arrived a few minutes late for my first meeting. The second is the observation method. It's even simpler. Just look around you, out your window, in your room, wherever you are, and describe what you see in one continuous sentence. For example, I'm looking out my window and I see a woman walking her dog while a few kids are playing soccer in the park across the street. This is great practice for adding details in real time. Let's do a quick recap of what we've learned. We hesitate because we're afraid of mistakes or we're translating in our heads. The solution is not to think of the whole sentence at once. Instead, start with a simple idea. Use basic connectors like and, but, so, and because to link your thoughts. Then add details step by step: who, what, where, when, and why. Avoid common mistakes like run-on sentences, and remember that clarity is your main goal. By practicing this building block method, you'll stop hesitating and start speaking with a natural, confident flow. Your English conversations will become richer and more expressive. Thank you for joining me for this comprehensive lesson at ClearSpeak English. I hope you feel empowered and ready to start building longer, more confident sentences. Remember, this is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with consistent practice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and be patient with yourself. Every long sentence you speak is a victory. Keep practicing, and you will see amazing progress in your fluency and your confidence. Until next time, happy learning.